I want to talk about something most men won't bring up and most doctors never ask about. How you touch yourself when you're alone is either training your body to perform better with a partner or it's training your body to fail. And I'm not talking about frequency, I'm not talking about porn, I'm talking about the actual physical technique, the grip, the speed, the pressure, the focus, and what it is doing to your nervous system over time. I've worked with men for over 20 years in clinical sexology, and I can tell you this with absolute certainty. The majority of men who struggle with erections during partner sex have unknowingly trained their body to respond to one very specific pattern, a pattern that doesn't exist during real sex. And then they wonder why it doesn't work. This isn't about willpower, it's about neural pathway. Your body learned one route and now it doesn't know any other. The good news, you can retrain it, and the protocol is specific, practical, and measurable. I'll give you that in 5 steps right now. Step 1, the baseline. Here's where we start, and I actually want you to do this before you try to fix anything else, because most men skip this part and then can't tell if anything is changing. The baseline test is simple. Next time you're alone, pay attention to 3 things. How long does it take you to become fully erect? What grip pressure you're using? Tight, moderate, or light? And are you focused on physical sensation in your body, or are you somewhere else mentally, in your head, in a fantasy, watching something? That's your baseline. Write it down if you need to. Those 3 data points, time to erection, grip pressure, and where your attention sits, are the dashboard you will be checking over the next 3 weeks. A client came to me a few years ago. Mid-50s, married, good relationship. He said his erection with his wife were getting worse every year. When I asked him what was happening when he was alone, he looked at me like nobody has ever asked him that question, because nobody had. And when we actually mapped out what he was doing, tight grip, fast speed, completely in his head, it was obvious. His body had been trained for something his wife could never replicate, not because anything was wrong with her, because the signal his body needed wasn't available in real sex. That's the step 1. Know what you're working with. And actually, before we go further, if you haven't already, take the free vitality check quiz. Link is in the description. It takes 2 minutes and it will map where your body, your mind, your habits are actually sitting right now. You will know exactly where you stand before you start this protocol. Step 2 is the grip and speed reset. And this is where most men resist because it feels counterintuitive. You're going to reduce your grip pressure by about 50% and you're going to cut your speed in half. The goal is not to finish, the goal is to stay erect at a lower level of stimulation for longer. Why? Because during sex with your partner, the stimulation level is lower, softer, more variable. If your body has been trained to only respond to high intensity, consistent, tight grip stimulation, it literally doesn't know how to stay aroused in real environment. This is called sensory threshold retraining. You're teaching your nervous system that this amount of stimulation is enough, not by thinking differently, by physically practicing differently. The first few sessions will feel frustrating. You might lose your erection. That's actually the point. You're finding the edge where your system currently fails and you're slowly moving that edge. Do this 3 times a week minimum. Each session 15 to 20 minutes. And no, you don't have to finish every time. In fact, not finishing some sessions is part of the training. Step 3 is the one that surprises most men because they've never done anything like this. This is body mapping, and it comes directly from sensate focus work, a technique that's been used in clinical sexology for decades. The original work was developed by Masters and Johnson and has been refined extensively since then. Here's what you do. During your session, instead of touching only the obvious area, you include the rest of your body. Inner thighs, lower abdomen, chest, neck. You're mapping where you actually feel sensation, not where you think you should. Most men discover that they have narrowed their entire sexual response to one zone, Everything else is essentially numb. Not because there's nerve damage, because the brain has stopped listening to those signals. It stopped needing them. Body mapping wakes those pathways back up. It gives your nervous system multiple inputs instead of one. And here's why that matters for partner sex. When you're with someone else, the stimulation comes from everywhere. Skin contact, warmth, pressure, breathing. Your brain only knows how to process one narrow input. It drops the rest. And that's often when the erection fades. I had a client, late 40s, very fit, who told me he had lost almost all sensation in his inner thighs and lower abdomen. He thought it was age, but after 3 weeks of body mapping, sensation started returning. And he told me something I have heard many times since. I didn't realize how little I was actually feeling until I started feeling again. Step 4 is attention anchoring. And this is the mental component, but it's not meditation and it's not breathing exercise. During your sensation, your only job is to keep your attention on physical sensation, not performance, not outcome, not fantasy, just what you are feeling in your body right now, in real time. The moment you notice your mind drifting into evaluation, is this working? Am I hard enough? Is this going to translate to sex? You bring your attention back to sensation, skin, pressure, temperature. That's it. This is important because the biggest killer of erection isn't physical. It's the brain splitting its attention between sensation and evaluation. When you train your attention to stay on sensation during solo sessions, it becomes the default during partner sex. The clinical term for the problem is cognitive interference. Your brain running two programs at once, feeling and judging, and neither one get enough processing power. The erection loses. Attention anchoring is a skill. You build it the same way you build any skills, repetition. 3 weeks of practice, and most men notice a significant difference in how present they are during sex. Step 5 is tracking. And I know this sounds clinical, but it is what separates men who improve from men who try something for a week and quit. Every week, check 3 things against your baseline. Time to erection at the lower stimulation level. Is it getting shorter? Sensation range. Are you feeling more in the body map zone? And your attention. How long can you stay anchored before your mind drifts? You should see measurable changes between 2 to 3 weeks. If you don't, it usually means the grip pressure is still too high or the sensations are too short. Adjust and continue. The target is 6 weeks total. By week 6, most men report that their response to lower intensity stimulation has noticeably improved. And that translates directly to what happens with a partner. So 5 steps: baseline test, pressure reset, body map, attention anchor, track, and adjust. This isn't complicated, but it requires consistency. And it requires you to be honest with yourself about what you have actually been doing and why your body responds the way it does. Nobody talks about this. Your GP won't bring it up. Most therapists won't either. But after 20 years of doing this work, I can tell you, this is one of the highest impact protocols I give my client. It works because it addresses the actual train pattern, not the symptom. Now, this protocol targets your body, but your erection doesn't live just in your body alone. There's a nervous system component, a relationship dynamic, and identity piece that all connect. If you want to see how those fit together, watch the Hard Truth Masterclass. It's free on this channel, and it will show you the full picture. Watch that next.